both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Tuesday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another segment of our Hidden Gem segment. I'm on the road, y'all, okay? I'm just letting y'all know I'm on the road. I'm in a Hunt hotel. My Wi-Fi is messed up. If y'all lose me tonight, be patient and understand. We'll get through it tonight, but Tony is here. Tony, welcome everybody to tonight.
Welcome, both sides of the conversation. I'm your co-host, Tony Rochelle. Y'all, community, John wasn't even supposed to be here, but he's such a workaholic that he don't know how to take a time off. So he's here. We'll deal with it while he's here. But for y'all that's just now tuning into our show for the first time, y'all in for a treat. We got a full house, so stay tuned. We got a lot for you tonight, community.
Yes, and for all our new followers, y'all know every Tuesday. If y'all don't know, every Tuesday we have a segment that is called Hidden Gems, where we highlight Black and brown businesses, community leaders, folks that are doing positive things to impact our community. We got some phenomenal folks tonight, so just excited about tonight's show. And you know, Tony, no matter if I'm on the road, I'm always going to try to support my team any way I can. And even with the hurricane coming, the winds picking up, I'm still hanging in here. I'll be rocking and rolling with the ghost and everything else that's around here. But we'll get through this show tonight. And thank you all tuning in. There's a number of conversations that we're going to continue to have as we have had a continuous uptick in gun violence in our community. Another few shootings that took place yesterday and overnight. We are doing our best to combat this gun violence in our community. I'll be doing another live show with some other folks who are trying to combat gun violence in our community. It is just off the hook right now, community, and we just got to do something about it, not just here in the Bay Area, across this country. Our young folks are just feeling that the only way they can deal with arguments, disagreements, is picking up a gun. So we got some work to do, but we're here. We're committed. We're going to continue to do our part. Thank you to all of the folks who came out over the past weekend, showing out, doing community events, trying to keep our community unified. And, we're just going to keep grinding and pushing things through. With that being said, we're going to jump into a couple of the world news events that's taking place, our community events, and then we're going to go ahead and bring up our first hidden gem for tonight. So with that being said, bear with me because I don't have my production sheet. I'm reading off a phone, and y'all know I'm getting old. My eyes ain't as good as they used to be, but I'll get through this. FedEx is posing to raise their shipping prices in January. In the beginning of January, the average shipping price will be about 6.9% interest. from 5.7 to 7.9. Late payment fees will go up to 8%. All U.S. FedEx Express and FedEx Ground invoices paid accordingly will approve those new measures. As you all seen in the news, the feds are continuing to increase the interest rate as they are trying to combat the inflation in this country. As you all know, or maybe you don't know, but we are in financial ruin coming in this country. And I know people are still out there shopping and spending, but I'm telling the community folks, pay attention to what's going on as more and more employers are letting folks go. I think we had 2 large corporations lay off 15,000 employees over the last 2 weeks. So all I can say is, hey, hang in there, community. Be smart with your money. These winter months are going to be tough. As y'all see here in the Bay Area, the gas prices is going out of the roof again. I left out and the gas prices went back up to $6.98 a gallon. I don't know what's going on. I thought they said they was dropping the gas prices. But again, every gas station I go to, it continues to go up. So you know what that means during the winter months. The discretionary funds that folks are going to have is just going to be tight as we approach the holiday months. And that's always a terrible thing because we know when these type of things happen, increase of robberies and people taking risks. So again, a lot of work. Be mindful of your spending. Be careful what you buy in cars and houses right now as interest rates are shooting out the roof. I'm hearing some of the house rates are going up as much as 8 to 12% for mortgages. Car rates is going up anywhere from 10 to 15%. Be careful out there. Don't put yourself in too much debt, but it is definitely happening. Next, we have in Los Angeles, the school district. They're going to be distributing overdose reversal drugs to every K through 12 school age group. That's after a death of a student who overdosed on fentanyl. This is very terrible for me, and it's so heartbreaking to read these stories. But because of this opiate crisis and this fentanyl in our community, they're going to be putting Narcan in our schools to help folks that are overdosing on drugs. Again, this fentanyl, they put them in little blue pills, looking like Skittles and things of that nature. It is terrible. I was watching a documentary the other day in LA, 14, 13, 12-year-old kids, homeless on the streets, on fentanyl, addicted. And I'm just like, where's the family? What is going on? We have some real issues in America that we got to address, not only with gun violence, but the use of these opiates and fentanyl in our community is getting out of control. And again, we're going to do our part here at both sides of the conversation as we're going to continue to partner with organizations and do our part to make sure that our young folks and community folks know the importance and the dangers of these drugs that are going on in our community. I know Booker T. Washington is doing an event coming up either this weekend or next weekend, and they're going to be educating folks in the community how to recognize opiate use, fentanyl use, and also they're going to be teaching folks how to use this Narcan here to help folks that overdose. But it is a sad day in America when 12 and 13-year-olds are using opiates to get high. I mean, it's just terrible right now. And we got a lot of work to do with our young people. A lot of the young folks are feeling depressed, not loved, not supported. So as community, how do we do our part? As family members, how do we do our part? Not to just get caught up in work, not just get caught up when we're doing our day-to-day life, but make sure that our young people are at the forefront of the decisions that we make and the things that we do day to day. We got a lot of work, community, and we just got to keep loving on our young people and loving on our community. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of anxiety as these young folks are trying to figure their way out through life. And as adults, we have to do a better job to lead them down the right pathways. So more work. We'll keep you all updated on it, and we'll make sure that we get those events out to the community as this drug use in our community with our young folks is just increasing and going out of the roof. Also, the WNBA players are boycotting in Russia and Brittany Griner imprisonment. The WNBA players are boycotting plan for Russia and Brittany Griner imprisonment after her sentencing. The league's top players, Breanna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, and Jewel Jones, have a proposed plan for Russia's basketball tournament that they have in the winter. Although the earnings equal millions of dollars, the teams are playing out of the country, and they're decided to stand in solidarity with Brittany Griner. Again, terrible, terrible situation. And just to see some of the folks still not taking it serious, it's a lot. But again, shout out to those players for standing up, not letting money, take their thought process. They stand in solidarity with their teammates. and they're going to pass up on the money to support Brittany Griner. So that is cool to see that. And again, we just got to continue to work together and make sure that we stand in solidarity on all issues. And I always say solidarity is 365 days a year, community, standing together for all issues. And nice to see those players taking a stand in that manner. Now we're going to jump into our community events. Be patient with me. It's a lot of them, but we'll get through them for the community. Starting off with the Bayview Swim and Splash sessions. They have 8-week sessions that started on the week of September 12th. It is going through November the 4th for the San Francisco Park and Recs Department at Martin Luther King Jr. Pool at 5701 3rd Street. If you would like to get our young folks into these classes, please get them to the pool, sign them up. We're trying to change the narrative. Y'all know they always say Black folks can't swim. We want to make sure our young folks and community folks get an opportunity to probably learn how to swim so that they can save their life if they ever get into a situation while being in water. So please, a great event. Go over there, sign up, get our young people involved. The water is warm during the winter. So again, it's a great learning tool for our community. Also, the Boogaloo and robot strutting and rapping workshops are taking place. They had one already. They're going to have another one this Wednesday, September the 28th, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Bayview Opera House, 4705 3rd Street. If you would like to do that, if you know how to strut your stuff, you like to do the robot, man, go up in there and learn how to do it from some of the best who do it. And they're going to be teaching the community how to do all of that work there. Also, the San Francisco Online Job Fair is happening Thursday, September the 29th from 11 p.m. to 2 p.m. The website for all the information is there on the screen. More and more workforce development is bringing work to folks in the city. So again, young folks, middle-aged folks, Tate population, there's no excuse. Here's another job fair. They're not even paying attention to if you have criminal records and things of that nature. They just trying to get young folks and community folks to come be a part of their companies and their organizations as people are looking for labor. Also, the District 10 Safety Plan Violence Prevention Peace Rally is happening Saturday, October the 1st, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at District 6, 428 11th Street in San Francisco. If you'd like to get tickets, please look at the Eventbrite information on the screen. I'm sorry, community, I won't be there. People been calling me, John, are you going to be there? I can't be there because I'm out of town, but Miss Tony will be there, as well as some of our Both Sides of the Conversation team. So you will see our team out there at the event. I will not be in. And again, I am still going to push forward on peace and gun violence prevention. So we're going to continue to do the work, and there's other events that we'll be a part of throughout the rest of the year. Also, the low back pain workshop is happening Monday, October the 3rd at Baby Hunters Point YMCA, 1601 Lane Street in San Francisco. The contact information is there on the screen. Again, so many folks in our community, elders, young folks dealing with pain. These workshops are great. If you like to reduce your pain, if you're walking around, you're always stretching, you're always moving, your neck hurting, go to one of these websites, learn some of the techniques that you need to relieve some of that back pain. The whole objective of these workshops is to make sure we do things organically so that we're not using pain pills and different things to manage our pain. These are great workshops. They teach stretching and different things of that nature. So if you are interested, please go check it out. Great way to heal yourself and do some of that self-care. Also, the Pregnancy Pop-Up Village is happening Saturday, October the 8th, 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. It's going to be at 1201 Mendale Street at the Baby Opera House. Fellas, please come out. Bring your lady, even if they're not pregnant. It is a family event. They have a lot of mental health services, resources for men. They're going to be cutting hair. They're going to be doing a number of things for the man in the community as well. But this is a women's pop-up clinic, and they do have a lot of service for women who are going through the process of labor. But again, they are encouraging men to show up, as they're going to have male mental health. They're going to have father workshops to teach young fathers and fathers how to be fathers and things of that nature. So it's a great day. If you got opportunity, get out there and check out the Pop-Up Village. And shout out to the Refuge Coalition, to all of the amazing folks who work together to continue to make sure that our community are getting the resources and information that is needed. Also, the San Francisco High School and Middle School Night Fair is happening. Learn about application process and financial aid from the top area schools. It is open to all 5th and 8th graders, October 14th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Boys and Girls Club at the Don Fisher Clubhouse, 380 Fulton Street. If you got any questions or concerns you'd like to ask, reach out to sfrebels1990@gmail. Shout out to my guy, Nate Ford, for just continuing to make sure our young folks stay on the education pathways and making sure they have all the resources that they need to be successful. Also, the Mount Rose City of Refuge first annual breast cancer 5K walk and run is happening Saturday, October the 22nd. 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Riley Chambers Community Park. And that's going to be happening at 808 Mangola Avenue in Crosby, Texas. For all our folks in Texas, get out there to the breast cancer walk. As you all know, we are approaching the month of breast cancer and domestic violence awareness month. So please, if you out there near Crosby, Texas, get out there and go do the 5K walk to support our women who are dealing with breast cancer. Also, the Ocean Avenue Halloween Block Party and Ethic Toy Drive is taking place Saturday, October 22nd, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be at Faxon Ave and Ocean. And this is a very, very important event. They do this every year. It's going to be from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Ave Bar at 1607 Ocean Avenue. Reach out to my brother Maurice Rivers if you like to be a part of it. If you want to drop off a toy or if you want to sponsor the event, please reach out to the number on the screen. Also, the high school test prep class is happening to all of the 7th and 8th graders. You'll be prepared to take your placement test for the HSPT exam. Class starting in October. Please reach out to my guy, Nate Ford. If you have any young folks who are trying to get ready, they're going to be teaching them how to get prepared and how to take this test so that they can be successful. So please reach out to SF Rebels and make sure that you reach out to Nate to get that going. Also, the Peace Park presents Friday Night Fun every Friday night, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Hamilton Rec Center at 1600 Gary Boulevard. They are trying to continue to make sure that there's an event and support for our young Tay population folks. Okay, we're trying to stop this violence in our community, and the Peace Parks are doing it by opening up the Hamilton Rec Center. They're doing haircut inside the gym. They're doing arts. They're doing mentorship. They're doing a lot of things in there with the young people. So please, if you're over in the area, bring your young people. There's a number of young teenage folks that's in there. They're playing basketball. They're having fun. It's a real nice event for young folks to just be around other positive young folks. Also, the Saturday Family Fun Days are happening. They're going to be doing it on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of every month. They're going to be taking field trips, sporting events, and much more. I know they just had their first event. I seen them take all the kids out to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the Niner game. So shout out to my guy, Nate Ford. Again, just continue to make sure that our young folks are getting out of the community, doing something different, and keeping their minds on positive things. Also, the 33rd annual Pee Wee Basketball League is currently open. They are definitely looking for coaches and volunteers. The league will start the first week of October. Reach out to Nate Ford. The contact information is in there for all the brothers, all the kings of the community. Okay, give back. Here's an opportunity. Come coach some young folks basketball. Teach them some things that they need to know. They are looking for some support. If that's you've been looking for a way that you want to give back and work with the young folk, that's a great way to do it. Also, the San Francisco Smart Money Coaching is happening. Free confidential financial guidance for anyone living and working and receiving services in San Francisco. All you have to do is schedule an appointment by calling the 1-877 number that's up on the screen, and they will teach you about financial literacy, debt-free, and help you start building generational wealth. As y'all heard me say in the opening of the show, inflation is high. Money is getting tight. Discretionary funds is out the door, and the gas is going out the roof. So why not partner with a financial coach? Go over your budget. Make sure you're doing the right things. Make sure you're investing right. Paying off some of your debt so that you could be financially stable and also building financial wealth to lead to the community. Also, our Both Sides of the Conversation fundraiser is happening. We are trying to raise capacity. As y'all know, we a new organization, 2 years in the game. Now, I've been doing work for 27 years. Let me make sure I say that right. I've been doing work for 27 years in our community, advocating, organizing, working with our young folks. But Both Sides of the Conversation is a 2-year nonprofit. We are steady growing. But again, to do this work, there is capacity, dollars, and things that we need to help impact our community. So if you would like to support us, please go to the GoFundMe that's up on the screen. Also, you could donate on our website. There's a number of ways you can help support this organization. Also, we are still looking for other volunteers who would like to give out their time to come help impact community. If that is you, if you have an administrative background, a marketing background, production background, or if you just have some skills that you want to give back, that you think you can help out this organization to help our community, please go to our website, sign up, click to join our squad. We'll go bring you on, check you out, see what you got, see how you can help impact the community. Also, you can support both sides of the conversation through Amazon Smile. Maybe you're not the person that want to volunteer and give back. Maybe you're like, hey, I got some money, I can help that way. Go to Amazon Smile. Choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations. No extra cost to you. But every time you purchase something, 0.5% of that purchasing power will be given back to both sides of the conversation to help us out. And ladies, don't make no excuse. I see the Amazon truck on all y'all streets. I know y'all buying stuff on Amazon, okay? I'm going to tell your husband, because I be seeing y'all sneaking outside, grabbing your packages, hiding them before your husband come home, okay? So do the right thing. At least you can say, well, honey, I did buy some from Amazon, but guess what? Both sides of the conversation is our charitable organization. So every time I spend something, we helping some people out in the community. That's your lie. I'm giving y'all game. That's your excuse to get out of it. But again, choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations and help support us. And we'll appreciate you. And thank you for all of the folks who have signed up to support us. We thank you all. And thank you all for continuing to support the work that we do. Also, make sure you go to all of our social media handles. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, shame on you. Okay, shame on you. There's a lot of things that we're doing in the community. Every time we're live, you get to check out what's going on, where we at, what events we're supporting and impacting. Please go to our YouTube, check out our Facebook page, go to our Instagram, go to Twitter, whatever social media you like. Oh, you like TikTok? We on TikTok too. Check us out, okay? All social media handles at both sides of the conversation. I think that's a great thing going on for everybody to just stay connected with our social media handles. Also, our next live show is this Thursday. We're going to have another educational Thursday presentation, and a couple of these hidden gems are here tonight. So we excited. They're going to put on a show and really break down what's going on with community for our educational Thursday. As y'all know, every Thursday, okay, that's our educational segment. We're looking for people who have PowerPoint presentations that could come on and educate our community, give our community some of that sauce, some of that game, some of that information that sometimes our community folks don't get. So if that is you and you have a PowerPoint that you think is very powerful, something that can educate our community, uplift our community, move us forward with equity, please sign up and come on and educate our community about that. And then this Sunday, our next live show will be our Sunday conversation at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are talking about breast cancer. We're going to have some phenomenal breast cancer survivors, some doctors, some folks who are talking about this to make sure that our community is educated on breast cancer. And I am excited because that show is always special to me, just because I lost my mom, and that was one of the struggles she dealt with. And y'all know this breast cancer is real. It takes away a lot of our African-American and Latino women. And sometimes we just not getting access to healthcare and those resources. So again, check out our Sunday conversation. It should be powerful. Maybe you've been through it. Maybe you beat it. And maybe you could come and put some information in the comments to help some other young ladies or folks that are going through it as well. Before we get started to our first hit gem, I just want to let everybody know before we go, this month, today is the end. And as we getting close to end for Males Health Awareness Month, I think it's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month as well. Please, brothers, kings, go out there and get checked up. We want to make sure that our men in the community go get checked, as that disease, that cancer has just been taking out our community. And I know a lot of brothers don't trust doctors and they don't want to go get seen. But again, if you get out there early and find out and get checked out, you could definitely beat it. And we're just encouraging brothers to get out there and make sure that Black male health is on the top of the list before we start tonight. My kings, don't get checked. We want to be here to protect our queens and raise our families. Okay, enough of me. Y'all heard enough of me. I am through. No more events. We got through everything. Tonight, we're going to bring up our first hidden gem. Now, check this out, y'all. She's on the East Coast, okay? For all y'all people that be calling and emailing, talking about, all y'all do is talk about San Francisco and the Bay Area. I tell y'all, we got people all over, both sides of the conversation here. We've had people from Florida, Kansas City, all over this country. And tonight, we got some ATL folks that's coming in. A-Town! With that being said, Dr. Nadia B., welcome to both sides of the conversation, Queen. Get and holler at the people, let them know who you are and what you're doing, Queen.
Good evening, those that are watching. I'm so happy to be on, meeting some new friends. My name is Nadia. I am the CEO of a nonprofit organization called Project 16. And what I do is support education in Jamaica. I've been running and operating since 2016. So I am so excited to be with you all tonight to just share a little bit about what I do and maybe a couple of projects I might have coming up in the near future.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about the organization, what you do, so community can kind of get a feel what this Project 16 is all about.
Okay, so I solely work with education in Jamaica, schools in Jamaica, and I go there quite often. And right now I'm working with one school called Guys Hill Primary that's located in the St. Catherine Parish, kind of close to kind of in between San Ann, like Ocho Rios and Kingston up in the hills. I started my nonprofit because I was going there often, and I also have Jamaican heritage on my father's side of my family. So usually most people, when they go to Jamaica, they usually try to support the schools that are closer to the resorts. They're not that familiar with traveling around and going all the way up in the hills. And I decided that I wanted to take a different approach and support the schools that don't really get that many resources or support that's outside of the Jamaican government and so forth. So right now I have one school that I've been working with for a very long time, and I am looking to add on more schools. I actually just came back from Jamaica. We launched a computer lab, so it's like real huge for us. We've been working on that since forever, trying to get funding, and we finally received funding for it back in March, I believe. And over the summer, been working diligently to get that up and running, and we finally launched it. I got the kids set up on a program to help with their academics and math and reading and writing. And so things are just moving so swiftly. So now that we're expanding, I'm ready to add on another school.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Much respect. I gotta say, the people in Jamaica are beautiful. I just came from Jamaica. I was in Montego Bay in August. So beautiful, beautiful culture, beautiful spirited people. It's just amazing how they continue to be resilient through all the things that they go through down there, and they find ways to stay in solidarity. And the young people are just powerful young folks down there. So I think that's amazing that you're doing this project down there, impacting those people, because again, there's a lot of resources and things that they're just not getting access to. So
Right.
way to go to you and having that heritage. But when you're in the school, I guess my first question is when you're in the schools, because we always try to differentiate here in America versus down there. Give us that insight. What is the difference? Because I think when we talk about education in America, it's not something that we're so proud about in our community at times. But when you go to other countries, what's the feedback? What's the kids like, and how they feel with their energy when it comes to education?
The manners. Any adult that walks into the classroom, they stand up. Good morning, good afternoon, Mrs. Such and such. It's like a whole spiel that they give you of how they greet you. And that's at an elementary school. So just imagine as they grow. Now, I don't know what happens as they get older, and things start to change from then on. But that's the missing component that I see is the respect for the adults in the schools. Other than that, the academics is pretty much the same. Since they don't have as many resources, the teachers might not have as many resources to be able to do like different differentiation strategies and so forth. When they come to the States, they may seem like they're behind, or that they might be slower, for lack of better words. Some people might think that, but mainly what I see is that they're just not equipped as much as we are. So by me launching that computer lab is giving them the opportunity to be more equipped and feel more confident in their learning, as well as if their family was to migrate to the States or to England or to Canada, they could feel like that they're in comparison with their peers. And also the family sees that, okay, my child is getting a better education. They may not see a need to have to migrate their entire family. So I'm trying to show that Jamaica is so beautiful. So many people are trying to move to the islands, but then you have the locals that are trying to move away for something better. We're trying to move there because we think that's something better. So I'm trying to show them, like, okay, you guys might not see the beauty that you have, but they just might need that extra the extra push to get them to that point where they say, okay, I see that everything is good. I have the support outside of the government, because everyone wants to rely on the government. And as you can see in the United States, we can't rely on our government either. So we just have to kind of work together.
Wow, it's very powerful, and I'm glad you're doing this work. When I was down there, I've been actually looking at maybe buying land down there because it is still reasonable, and it's true. It's very powerful what you said, because I talked to a lot of the locals down there, and they're like, "Oh, I want to go to America," and I'm like, "Why? Like, y'all got all black everything down here." But one of the things that I did notice, and I don't know, in Kingston, but I know in Montego Bay, a lot of folks from like China, Indian are buying up the country. And that was one of the things that some of the locals was telling me, like, we're pushing gentrification here in a different way, trying to keep our land. But when it's a lack of resources and folks from other countries coming with money, buying up the land and stuff, making it very, very challenging for our people down there. And I was telling them all, man, brothers, stick together. Y'all keep y'all land. Don't be selling out the land for nothing. That's black space. But one of the questions before I let Tony go was, being down there with black staff, black students, do you feel that's an advantage? Because here in America, I go to a lot of these school board meetings, and a lot of our African American families and different organizations that serve our youth that's in our school districts across this country has really been dissatisfied with our school districts, our curriculum, the education. And I keep hearing them so many times saying that they believe that our kids would advance more if they had black teachers, black folks who look like them to help advance them. But also with that being said, do you see the same processes that takes place here in America? Kids get on these IEPs and they're giving them prescriptions because they ADD. Do you see that same energy, or is it different?
Well, it's a twofold thing, because I am a special educator at a high school here in Georgia. And the school that I currently support, they do have a high population of special needs. But I'm not hearing a lot of them like on medication, because even at the school where I work here, a lot of our students are not on medication. But them having an IEP here and in Jamaica, it's just really giving them just support services. That's really all it is. But everything else that comes down to medication and so forth, that's really not the school. That's between the parent and the doctor. So that's kind of like a whole different conversation that we don't really have control over. But back to your question about having black people, more black educators in the classrooms and so forth, if that makes a difference. It can make a difference, but as an educator myself, I think everything starts from the home and continues in the home and ends in the home. And I think going to school is the guidance that the parents may need to be able to follow a pace so they know what their child needs to know as they matriculate. So I tell my parents a lot, and like I tell them at the school, the community really runs the school. It's not the school. The school don't run the school. The parents run the school, but if the community is not in support or being more visible there, then we have to do what we have to do. So you can have black, you can have white, you can have Asian. But at the end of the day, we're the parents. So it's I see the same thing at the school in Jamaica. I don't know about all schools, but it's the same thing at the school in Jamaica. When we did our lunch, it was real big. And if you go on my YouTube, I'm not real big on social media and YouTube and things of that nature, but I did post our news clip because we were interviewed by 2 news stations in Jamaica. And a few parents were there and they did an interview as well. I'm not sure they showed it, but they're excited just to see that, okay, my child is going to get the help. I know what I could be working with my child at home. Not saying that they didn't know before, but now they see that there's the school that they send their child to is getting more resources. So it's making them feel a little bit more confident, like, okay, I could get some better guidance. Now they'll be able to have a computer lab that has 20 computers, projector. I mean, I really hooked them up. So at the same time, the computer lab can benefit the community. It can benefit the parents. So it's not really just for the children. So I hope that really answers your question.
No, it definitely did. Tony, you wanted to throw something in there?
Yeah, you kind of stole some of my questions, but that's okay. How you doing?
Good.
One of the questions I have for you, since you're working over in Jamaica, I love Jamaica so much. Montego Bay, Negril, I love it all. What's the difference that you see over there versus over here? And are there any similarities?
In regards to education alone, or just?
Yes, because in Oakland, California, we're struggling with reading. We're struggling with math. Right now we are trying to get tutors in schools all over Oakland right now. And believe it or not, people are fighting against that. So I'm wondering, do y'all have the same issues there that we have here?
I'm not there to know exactly like their day-to-day issues, but from what I do see is that it's mainly a lack of resources. And then right now, currently what's going on, there's a lot of educators in Jamaica, and now there's not enough jobs, so they're trying to migrate to the States or wherever to get a job. So if they were doing tutoring, then that goes all the way down to who's going to pay for it, who can afford it, and is the government going to put money into it? Because then it goes back into, okay, so how are the locals in Jamaica even surviving? So then that goes into a whole other conversation of, okay, what is their main source of income in Jamaica? And that's tourism. So it's like a twofold thing, as opposed to here in the States, the kids get free lunch. They get free everything. They could get money, funds for tutoring, but then it's like, okay, now you have to find the people to do it, or the kids willing to stay after school and so forth. So yes, they're low in reading. Yes, they're low in math. Yes, they're low in writing. Not all, but it's the same common ground that I see. And I work at a high school, and that's a elementary school. So
it's still politics over there about money, because that's what it's all about.
It's huge politics, because if you really notice, whatever we do in the States, Jamaica might follow suit. We're like neighboring countries. When we shut down, Jamaica shut down. When we open up for tourism, Jamaica opens up for tourism. Like every little thing, if you just watch the pattern, it's like, okay, even though if they're ran by England, it's still, okay, what's the United States doing? Because they're getting a lot of money from us, a lot of tourism. We're like 2-hour flight. So
wow, definitely very important stuff. Community, go to her IG, check out the website. These are the type of organizations and services that we want to help impact our community. And again, it doesn't matter where they at. We all about uplifting and supporting our Black and brown folks around this country, around the world, have an impact. This sister's putting together an amazing program. Check out the project, see what they're doing, and get behind them and support so that we can help impact our young folks. We know the young folks are the future, and we want to keep building it up. And it's programs and organizations like what you're putting together that helps move that forward. When we talk about this equity, we talk about our people and how we need to be. This is where it all starts at. But definitely, lastly, I just wanted to know, strategically your plan, how far your reach that you're trying to do. Is it just, and, those areas? Are you trying to move out to the broader Jamaica? Are you trying to how are you trying to grow that to where all of the young folks are impacted over there?
Well, I just recently, since I just came back, and I've been hearing a lot of feedback of a lot of schools wanting the same thing that Guys Hill has, and that, that can't just happen immediately. It takes a lot of building relationships and rapport with principals and so forth like that. So I did open up an application for those principals to be able to apply and let me know exactly what's going on in their schools, and then starting creating projects from there. Of course, I am researching grants, and it's a little bit more difficult than what your organization might have, because mine is strictly international and it's strictly for Caribbean and strictly for Jamaica, and then it's strictly education. So then I have to be real strategic in what I'm looking for in the projects that are providing resources. So I have opened up for other schools. I'm going to add on one more school for this year, 2022-23, and then the next year add on another, as I continue to work with Guys Hill and then the next school and next school. So I don't ever plan to just work with a school and just leave them stranded, because the school that I have now, they still need other stuff, but their main thing that they wanted since 2016 was a computer lab. So every year we're always sending things through customs to them, and our shipments, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. The computer lab was the biggest, and now we're going to add on another school. And I do challenge. I'm always going to put out a challenge. I challenge every Caribbean, especially from Jamaica, that's in the United States, to do something great in your country. I wasn't born and raised in Jamaica, but my father's heritage was. And if I'm taking the time out to do something great, you were born and raised in Jamaica, whoever's watching, and if you know someone that is born and raised and you're watching, challenge them to do something great. When they go back home, bring some items for the schools. Pen, pencil, a pad can be less than $1. It's really cheap for us, but they could greatly need it, greatly use it, will appreciate it. So just do something great. It doesn't have to cost you a lot. It doesn't have to take up a lot of your time, but that will motivate them to continue to be better and excel in what they're doing in education, and it will feed into the community.
Wow. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Now, what made you so passionate about doing this work? You could have picked any kind of nonprofit or anything to do. Why education?
When I was going back before I started, and I was going back so often, I'm like, it's something I have to be doing than just going and vacationing. It's like, okay, I can't be here, then across the road, I'm seeing in my eyes is poverty, in their eyes it might not be poverty. It's like, okay, I have so much at the house. Why every time I come, I can't do anything? My father passed. I have my Jamaican family there in Canada and in Buffalo. So it's like, okay, why I can't just do a little something when I come? And it, to me, it's simple. And then being an educator, I'm thinking, okay, dang, I do so much for the kids in my class, and they're from all over the world. So why can't I do anything? We're still brothers and sisters. They're coming over here from poverty. I love Jamaica. It's a 2-hour flight. So
wow,
very
powerful.
That.
My father is from the islands, from Nassau, so I definitely want to connect with you and see what we could do here at both sides of the conversation to support you. But I'll have my team reach out to you, because I think I have some folks who works at an organization where I could get you some computers. So, these corporations are going through computers, upgrading them every year, and they have stocks and stocks and stocks of computers that work. So I'll make a phone call, but I'll have my team connect with you. And yeah, let's see if we could go ahead and impact some of those young folks down there. But the courage and the resilience, thank you. And you got to think about opening up something here so you can have a pipeline, so you can bring the kids from there to here. So I'm just going to help open up your mind and do more, right? We want that pipeline so that these folks that can come between Jamaica and America, and they can have some connectivity and some movement here on our land as well. But again, thank you for the work that you're doing. Very impactful stuff. We're going to make sure that we continue to get your information out. If you have any projects coming up or digital flyers that you need to blast out for support, please send it over so we can get it out to our folks. Maybe we'll get some people that might want to send a computer or send some of that electronic stuff that you need to help support your project. And
definitely.
Yeah, and with that being said, before we let you go, is there any people you want to shout out or anything you want to say, or you want to give any parting words before you go tonight, before we bring up our next hidden gem?
All I can say is just be great in everything that you're doing. And whatever you are doing, have love for it, take action and make a positive change. To donate, go to loveactionchange.org. Truly appreciate this opportunity.
No problem. Thank you very much for coming on tonight, Queen. And we'll be following you and checking out. And I'll definitely have my team reach out to you and see if we can put something together. Thank you again for all your work. All the power to the people. When we stick together in solidarity, things
That's
happen.
right.
We can move a lot. So, community, get behind this Queen. Check out our IG Project 16 and see what you could do to help give back and make an impact for a child across
Thank
these
you.
countries. All right. Thank you very much. We'll be seeing you soon. And I'll have my team reach out to you.
All right.
No problem. Good evening. All right. With that being said, we're gonna bring up another brother, another king out there in that east, in that Atlanta, man. You know what I'm saying? Because again, we got the ATL up in here, but Dr. Kevin, this brother's doing some phenomenal work. We're gonna bring him up and let him talk about his project, his organization, and things that he's doing. Dr. Kevin, what's going on, good brother? Talk to the people.
How you doing, man? I appreciate you guys for having me. You know, my name is Dr. Kevin Dolphin. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is the capital of Pennsylvania. We like 45, maybe 55 minutes away from Philadelphia. So I'm the founder and president of a nonprofit organization called Breaking the Chains. We're national. We do work in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York. We've done work in Delaware. So, you know, we do a lot of different work. And I wear a lot of different hats. So, I mean, I could go on and on about, you know, what I do or how I do it, but I would like to know from you, you know, what would you like to know about me or what I do?
We want to know everything. Everything.
I mean,
first of all, I didn't even know that there was Black people in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so you got to educate us.
Yeah, well, you got to come to Harrisburg. Most people that come to Harrisburg don't want to leave. You know, like I said, it's right outside of Philadelphia. Philadelphia is one of my favorite cities, but Harrisburg is really where it's at. We're growing. It's real nice, you know, especially if you're trying to get involved in business. You know, around the world, a lot of things are changing. But I'm gonna just give you a little bit about me. If I talk about my background, I don't glorify it. I just give you some insight on me and who I am and why I do the work that I do. Where to start? As a youth, like many of us, I grew up, you know, in a dysfunctional home. You know, my father got murdered by the police when I was 4. They tried to blame it on my mother. My mother and my father, they ran the drug trade in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And, you know, my mother was in the 70s. They named her the Queen Bee. So, you know, she was involved in the drug trade as well. So my mother went to prison and she eventually died in prison. And I was in prison when my mother was in prison as well. And I didn't get to go to my mother's funeral. So that was the spark of me starting breaking the chains. So when we talk about breaking the chains, we got to break the mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional chains, you know, in order for us to be able to, you know, first break them shackles. But as far as me as a youth, I was like public enemy #1 in the city that I come from. I've been a lot of places. I did a lot of things in a lot of different cities. A lot of different people know me. A lot of the people that you guys might see on TV, some of the celebrities, some of them TV shows, I was either locked up with them or I knew them on the street. When I was 16 years old, I was a millionaire. Not a millionaire now, but when I was 16, I was a millionaire. I did over half of my life in and out of prison, over 26 years. Right now, I own several businesses. I own apartment buildings, office fronts, of cleaning service. I'm an author of. I wrote over in federal prison. I did 15 years in federal prison. I wrote over 32 novels in prison. I got four books out now. My latest book out now is called If These Prison Walls Could Talk. Um, Deep book. You can get it on Amazon, um, Barnes and Nobles. Uh, Straight from me, breakingthechains.webs.com. You can log on and check out some of the stuff that I do. Um, and I was a mess when I was a young person, man. But I was always respectful, and going through the things that I've been through and seeing a lot of the atrocities that I seen. It gave me the mind frame of being able to reach back into my community. So like with a lot of these young people, whenever they're going through the things that they're going through, when they see a dude like me, what you might call a OG, a real OG, they can relate to and respect that. You know what I'm saying? Because when I come to them, I come in love, but I also come with the realness, letting you know that if you want to travel down this road, this is what you're looking for. But just a lot of different things that I do. I go into the schools, I go into the juvenile facilities, I go into the prisons. I mean, you name it, I do it. Like I said that before, I wear a lot of different hats. And the main thing that I do right now is re-entry work, where I help individuals when they come home from prison. Well, I go, me and my organization, we go into the prisons, we build the relationships with these individuals. And then when they're coming out, I also help them with housing, employment, many different services. And that's why if you on the screen, if you look at the Breaking the Chains Community Resource Center, that is a resource center that helps individuals when you come home, or even if you're home, where you can come there and get help with fair housing. If you need help with home care, counseling, mentoring, whatever you need, you can come there and get it. And those services are free. That's the main thing. The only thing that we charge for is counseling there, because that's how my staff get paid. But any other service that you may need, it's offered for free. So that's the biggest thing that we do. But I'm also the chapter coordinator. You guys are from out on the West Coast. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, and you probably have, Time Done. I am the chapter coordinator of Pennsylvania of Time Done. So me and Jay, that's my man. If you guys know who Jay Jordan is, that's my man. So we've been working together for quite a few years now. But I'm also the chapter coordinator for Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for crime survivors for safety and justice. Which we're also under ASJ, which is the Alliance for Safety and Justice. So I mean, man, I wear a lot of hats and I do a lot of different things. But my main thing is to help individuals not go down the dark path that I've gone, that I've had to walk through. I grew up without a father. I grew up without a mother. It's just so much. I've been through so much. And
what was the moment that you decided that you was gonna break the chain? Like, do you remember that very moment? Like, what happened, where you were at, what situation you was in? What made you just say, "I'm done. It's time to break the chain"?
Well, it was the point of where my mother passed away, and I wasn't able to go to her funeral. But then 2 weeks after that, I lost my brother. He was murdered, and I didn't get to go to his funeral either, because in federal prison, you don't get to go to funerals and all these type of things, especially when you were the type of guy that I was. They don't let you go to funerals. So understanding that, and then seeing all of the violence and things that was going on out in the community and around the world, because I grew up even though I'm from Harrisburg, I grew up in New York, I grew up in Brooklyn, Florida. I grew up in a lot of different places where I spent a lot of time. So just seeing all of that violence there, and knowing that I had contributed to much of it, because of some of the seeds that I planted, I knew that it was time for me to come back out and become a part of the solution instead of continuing to be a part of the problem.
Wow, powerful stuff, King. I got a lot of questions. I like when you say wear the many hats, because I hear you talking to me. I do a lot of things too. I do a lot of reentry work with our juveniles here in San Francisco. Shout out to our time done folks. I know those folks. I go to their retreats, their events, and the CSJ folks. So powerful organization, man. And just shout out to everybody in PA. One of our programs that we used to sit, that the courts used to send our youth was out to Glen Mills in Pennsylvania, yeah. Right? So a lot of the San Francisco kids, that was one of their alternatives. Instead of being locked up, they could go out there and do some of their programming, some of their time out there at Glen Mills. And, they had some phenomenal projects for the kids to get involved with when it came into trade skills and making glasses. And they did a lot of different things at the facility, not only build them up educationally, but just building up young men. But I guess my question is, how do you stay focused? There's a big crime rush. I was just watching some of the stuff that's going on in Philadelphia and around the surrounding areas in Delaware. The increase of gun violence has just been, overtaking the streets of Philadelphia and Delaware. How do you continue to maneuver, and with the lack of respect of these youngsters in the community? And I know a lot of them do respect the OGs, but there's a large amount of young folks that have just lost respect to the elders, the folks who've been there and done that. How do you stay maneuvering around those types of situations?
Well, I can only, the main thing I do, I got to give glory to God. That's the first thing, because that's who guides me. But I can honestly say, maybe one time I had an incident with a young man since I've been home, but once the young man found out who I was and that I knew his family, he straight apologized to me from the door. But I go into many different cities, many different communities. It's just like the young people, they take to me, and I think that's just a gift that I have. But what keeps me focused is my passion for not wanting to see individuals end up like I've ended up. All of us have a story. All of us have stories. We've all been through some things, some more than others. But my passion and the pain that I've been through is what keeps me focused. I got a wife, I got 2 children and 4 grandchildren. So I live my life to leave a legacy for them, because the way that I started is not the way that I'm going to end. You know what I'm saying? So when I lay down and I close my eyes for the last time, my children and the rest of my family, my sisters and everyone else, they're going to be proud of the man, that I became. So that's what I live my life for every day. From the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, I live to break the chains. And that's how I stay focused. My mother and my father, they're my blinders. They will keep me there and just stand, straight forward.
Man, that's powerful. One other question I have to ask, because I know it's not just here in the West Coast, but it's across this country. Trying to combat gun violence, trying to keep our young folks on the straight and narrow path, trying to mentor them. One of the challenges that we're having with Black male leaders in our community, it's a lot of Black brothers who are straddling the fence, right? What I mean by straddling the fence, they like trying to be leaders and motivators, but then they still got one step of their foot with that stinking thinking in the hood, right? How do we fix that, right? How do we get those brothers to know, like, you can't mentor youth but still be trying to be in the streets? And I think that is a big problem that we're having in our community. Too many times the leaders, the influencers, the people that our young folks are looking up, they're straddling the fence, right? Here in California, there's marijuana legal, right? But how do you educate and mentor a young person, and then you also involved in selling marijuana, even though it's legal, right? How do we set the precedence? Because I'm always telling these brothers, like, look, you can't do one or the other, right? It's either you in for the change or you still dabbling, regardless if it's legal. How do we get our males who getting involved with our young people, convince them, or how do you hold them accountable to being on one side? Because I think we're lacking accountability. Not all, but there's a lot of Black male leaders in our community that are not being held accountable for their behaviors, and that is misleading our young people into being even worse in these streets.
Yeah, well, you said one of the key words. It's education, but many of our men don't want to lean towards that education because once you educate yourself, you expand your view, you expand the way that you see life. You begin to become conscious of the things, and that's like me. Consciousness can be a gift and a curse because once you become conscious, you no longer love the things that you used to love, but some of those things that you still love, it pains you because you can no longer hold it in, even if it's family members, a woman, or even your children. When you're trying, when you put forth that effort to change, you can't allow nothing, no one, I don't care who it is, to hold you back from doing what you know that you have to do for you. So when we see a lot of these individuals, so-called community leaders or whatever, with one foot in, one foot out, I mean, I don't try to judge anyone, but I know that that don't work. I know that it's not going to work. You understand? And then you setting a poor example for these younger people that's coming up after you. So what I do is I lead by example. You understand what I'm saying? That's the only thing that I could do is lead by example, because with the guys from around my way, no matter where I go, they respect what I do. If they doing what they doing on the side, they don't bring that around me because they know where my stance is at, right? So if you got guys that respect you on that level to do that, then y'all stay over there and do what y'all doing. But this is what we doing over here, and we're going to paint a positive picture. And because when you're a community leader, and you guys notice, you've seen the Black Panthers, you've seen all type, they can and sometimes try to infiltrate your surroundings and put people in there. Now you got one foot in, you got one foot out. Now you're a so-called community leader, but now you in jail. So I mean, it's a lot that goes along with it. But the best example, the best thing that I could tell you is just to be a positive example, man, and know that people is always watching you. And sooner or later, if you got one foot in and one foot out, it's you're gonna pay the cost, man.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you on that. But I'm still every day, it's me, a number, couple of community leaders, right? We're still trying to figure out a way as Black men, as brothers in the community, how do we hold each other accountable, right? How do we have the courage? And it's like, not to judge the next brother, but it's like, brother, you out here working with these kids and you ain't right. Right? How do we as Black men have that conversation with other Black men that's misleading our community? Because these young folks right now, they're very impressionable, right? And if it might not be me that they're looking up to, maybe it's you, or maybe it's the next person. But if this next person is who they're looking up to, they big on me, they OG, and he foul and he's around them, how do us as Black men approach that situation? And that's the kind of conversations that I'm trying to have, because we got these brothers in our community that are doing this. And it's further impacting our community. So instead of us turning an eye, because I think sometimes as Black men, we get silent when it comes to each other, right? He in the streets, I'm living the right life. I don't want to get involved with this because I don't want to go there. But again, how do we strategically, how do we intentionally say, nah, brother, listen, like, how the Muslims used to do it, brother, nah, brother, come on, we're going to sit down and talk about this. We can't have you around our young folks and you doing this foolishness. Right? Because a lot of times this is what's going on, and our young folks are saying, well, John, they telling me put the guns down, but he got a gun on him. They telling me don't do drugs, but he doing drugs. They telling me don't do this, but he's doing that, right? And our kids is watching this, right? And yes, that individual is going to have to deal with it, but how do we as community men come together and say, nah, brother, we got to have a conversation. You got to leave our young people alone. You got to disengage, because that's the real conversation.
But yeah, if you can't sit down, if you can't sit down and have that conversation with that man straight up, then I mean, because some dudes take it offensive. When you bring that realness to them, they take it offensive. So if you're going to take it offensive, and I'm trying to bring you something that's real, and you can't accept it, then I just have to, like I say in the Bible, shake that dust off and keep it moving. But I'm going to give you something that you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I'm gonna give you something that you need to hear. And if you don't take heed to it, then you'll deal with the consequences later. Because us as black men, as the leaders, we know that we are the ones that can, with the help of the black woman, but we must be out front, the black man, to take back our communities. But if we're like you said, one foot in, one foot out, it's going to make our job as the ones that's really in it more difficult. So I'm gonna have this conversation with you. You know what I'm saying? And don't come if you. This is what I do, and I'm gonna leave it like this. This is from the streets. My name, I never really associated with anything that was, even though I was in the street. But if you wasn't no real dude, or if you wasn't about what you said you was about, my name wasn't going to be associated with yours. So just like breaking the chains now, breaking the chains will not be associated with any other organization that is not about what they say that they're about. So when you see these organizations out here, when you see community events, them dudes that's half stepping this in and out, you won't see them at mine, because they know that I ain't putting up with it. So when the people see that what this is how we carrying it. And I'm serious about it. And I don't like the old side of me. I don't like that old side. But when it comes to these kids and the things that we doing for the community, it's real. So that's how I do it.
I
I'm
think
gonna stay over here.
I think that's a good way. I think we got to call it hood economics disenfranchisement, right? All the brothers that's doing the work and moving forward, and the brothers, we just got to economically push them out that way, because they trying to do the work to get funding and things of that nature, but they really are doing a disservice to our young people. And I think that's a great point you brought up. We got to find a way to just disenfranchise them, and if that means just until they get it right. I mean, it's almost like, some folks that say when you disassociate with folks and they see everybody congregate, they want to be around, they change their behavior so they can get around the crew. But Tony, go ahead. I know you got some something you want to say. Tony, you don't have nothing?
Oh yeah, I'm just taking it all in, and you're so resilient for wanting to give back and do what you do. And you said it earlier. I was gonna say, where does this come from? But you said the man's name. You said God, and being able to be brave and just go out on those same streets of where you were doing your stuff at, and now trying to save the community, it tells a lot about you. And if someone wanted to like how does that go as far as like people wanting to join your organization? Is there like a form they got to fill out? Do they just come there? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, well, you know how we get our volunteers, how we get employees is many individuals, they come to the Breaking the Chains Resource Center. Um, and they fill out the applications. My receptionist or my secretary, they help them fill out the paperwork. Then they have to fill out clearances and things like that, because you have to be cleared to work with children, to go into the prisons and things like that. So we run those background checks and we help them, get acclimated if they want to help the community. So that's one of the things that we do. But one of my biggest projects now that I'm doing is South Carolina, and I have properties and things down there in the South. So we make sure that the men down there get acclimated as well. So we're in the process of helping the women too. But I'm gonna say this because I know you guys got to move on to somebody else. But I always tell individuals, like one of the biggest guys that I was locked up with was Big Meech. I know you guys know who or heard of Big Meech. So I was locked up with Big Meech, and Big Meech was crying one day, right? And he'll tell you the story. He was crying one day, and they was worth over $250 million. So he said, man, I would give back all that money and everything we did to be able to go home with my mom. Because he don't know if he's going to make it home to see his mother. His brother's home now, but he don't know. So I tell individuals, you never know if you're going to make it out, or if you're going to make it out to see your parents or someone, that you love before they go. So these are the things that we got to look at. And then those collateral damages that come from decisions that we make. It's real deep. So I like individuals to understand the decisions before they make them, and that's what I do. I'm an educator. So I educate the people, and I just like them to get it right, man. So that they don't walk down that long, cold, dark corridor that leads to nowhere.
I got one more question that's really important. When you decided to break the chain, what did you do for your mental health? Did you go talk to a counselor? Did you go to church? How did you make your mind better than to be able to walk this path? Because as Black folks, we don't want to get mental health services. We don't want to do those things. So you had to have something that clicked. I mean, I know you said you broke it, but like, what did you do for your mental?
All right, it's I don't want to get too deep into it because it would take a whole segment, but this is what it was, right? Even though my family was from the streets, my mom and my dad they ran the city. I used to have to go to church when I was a child 4, 5, 6 times a week, right? But on the other side of church, there was the streets, right? So my mother raised me. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6 says, raise a child in the way that he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. So I'm going to fast forward. So anyway, I went to prison. So while I'm in prison, and if anybody that's listening ever been to prison, many of these people in prison, they play church. It's not real church. Not all of them, but a lot of them, they play church. So if you're an individual, you understand that your personal relationship should be with God. You have a personal relationship with God. I don't always have to go to church. I am the church. So here we go. So now, while I'm in jail, they playing church. I'm like, man, I'm not going to church. Have you guys ever heard of The Wire? I know you have. So I was locked up with some dudes from The Wire. One of the guys in The Wire, him and his brother, they killed the young lady. They killed the young girl. By accident, straight bullet or whatever. So anyway, this guy was in prison with me. He became a preacher. So I didn't go to church. So he came to one of the prisons that I was at. And these guys convinced me to come down and hear him. So when I went down to hear him, it was like everybody in there is gangsters. Everybody in there was they serious dudes. So he had us all in there crying. So when he had us all in there crying, I'm looking for change. I want to change. So when I talked to this young man, I was 33, he was 31, and he gave so much about character. So anyway, he helped me begin to break the chains. Then I had to go see a psychologist. I went to go talk to somebody. I went to talk to somebody because I wasn't right. I was trying to find myself. So I had to find someone to talk to, and that's what helped me break those chains. It was God, the young man from The Wire, and that psychologist. That's how I did it.
The most powerful thing that you can say, King, I keep telling people, I do these meetings all the time with my young folks. When we get them emotional, it does something. It changes them, right? And to see grown men be vulnerable. I keep telling the brothers of our community, this is why this is so powerful for you to be here. This is the real both sides of the conversation. You get what I'm saying? Because we have to show our young folks, even in making the wrong decisions, you can make the right ones in the end. Your testimony is powerful. We need more Black men to be open to tell their truths, tell their vulnerabilities so that our young folks in the community who are confused, making bad decisions, bad choices, can see what it really looks like and give them that hope and that understanding of what it takes to make it. God bless you, King. We got to get our next hit Jim up here, but I'm going to reach out to you, Dr. King. We're going to try to get you back. We're going to be having some conversations coming up on Sunday. Those are 2-hour conversations, but we're really talking about the dynamics of how do we change the young Black brothers in our community? How do we shift this mindset, right? We always talking about here at both sides of the conversation, changing the narrative. When we telling the story about these young folks and these young brothers and this Tay population and brothers like you, that story is powerful, right? We're changing the narrative. You're doing that. Keep changing the narrative. Community, breaking the chains, community resource center is where you need to be. Brother King, if you have any information that you need us to get out, send us the digital flyers. We have a great following on our Instagram and our Facebook. Got a lot of folks from the East Coast. So whenever y'all doing programming or you want to get your information out to the community, please email it over to us so we can blast it out. And maybe we can get some of our folks with PA, Philadelphia, Delaware area to come out and support your organization. Anything that we could do to help you support, please let us know. And we're going to make sure that we can continue to support the work you're doing. Phenomenal stuff, y'all. This is what this is all about. Kevin, keep up the work. Don't stop. Keep pushing. And hopefully some of these other brothers that see the work you're doing to be inspired and move our communities forward. Thank you again for being here tonight. If there's any last shout out you want to give to anybody, do it now before we bring up our final hidden gems.
I just want to shout you guys out, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You know, I'm looking for big things from you guys, man. Again, thank you for having me. Let's break these chains, man. Peace.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it from the best, Dr. Kevin. Breaking the chains, brothers, breaking the chains. Every day we're changing the narrative in our community. Since tonight is education is the thing, you get to hear a different side of the spectrum. We have two phenomenal guests that's going to come on and talk about their amazing work and how they're impacting young folks and their education process. With that being said, we're going to bring up Kristen Espinoza and Bill Griffin from Rise. They are doing some phenomenal work in the Bayview, and they are back. We had them a few weeks ago. Some of the other folks, they are doing some work with our young folks, and they are producing some very, very talented individual. Hey, to both of you, welcome again, and go ahead and talk to the community.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Kevin. You definitely brought the church with you today. You were preaching, and so we appreciate that word, and we thank you, Nadia, too, just for all of the good stuff that you had to give us. And I'm going to come back to Nadia because she said something that really struck me as I think about our work. So my name is Kristen Espinoza Griffin. I am the development director, over at Rise University Prep here in the Bayview. And this is Bill Griffin Jr., and you'll hear from him in just a minute. He is our college counselor. So we're just two parts of the community, and this is a plug and it's a longer testimony, but we moved here to the Bay Area from Denver to work with Rise University Prep because we felt so strongly about the work that's being done in this school. It started in 2017, born out of a church. Families got together and decided that there was something more needed in the 94124 area code. You all doing the work that you do, you know that the lack of educational resources that already exist here. And so that is a big primary drive of why Rise exists. I have a whole spiel that I could give you, but we're going to save that for Thursday. And I want to show you Rise so that you can see it through your own eyes. And so I'm going to share my screen and show just a short video clip, and then I'll pass the mic over to Bill. Give me just 1 second to populate my screen, and then I'll get this going for y'all.
And thanks again while you getting it up, Bill.
Yeah.
You know, one, just being, you know, following through with your word. A lot of times, you know, community asks, and you are coming back Thursday, and we appreciate that because we have to continue to let our community know that there are phenomenal programs in our district, in D10 and 94124 that is working. And you know what you all are doing with the young people, and I think it's just priceless, you know. And as you all continue to develop and grow, we need our community to know, because there are so many issues right now going on with the San Francisco Board of Education. Folks are looking for other alternatives. And I pray that this is an opportunity to get some of our families, and we can bring resources. When we talk about reparations, when we talk about investing, you know, how do we take a Rise to the next level? How do we get more of these young Black brothers that's connected, smaller school process, connected, and have that relationship building process? So, you know, I'm excited, and just to see what you all are going to be able to accomplish. And again, just bring another hidden gem, another bright spot to D10. We need it. Our young folks are looking. They're looking for people that they can connect with to continue to evolve in their educational needs. So thank you all again.
Yeah, so I encourage you guys as you watch to see where you might plug in. If it's supporting a student, being a mentor, being a tutor, if you have young ones who are moving up into that high school age, think about them. See where you can see yourself and the people that you love in this video.
Yeah,
so I'll get this up for you.
Okay, yeah, go. Okay, there we go. Okay.
You go? All right, here we go.
One thing I always say is that, you know, we're not necessarily human beings, we're human becomings, right? Always becoming something different every day. And that's okay to change. It's okay to evolve, but you have to have some foundational roots so that as this tree grows, right? When the wind hits and when the storm comes, it doesn't topple over. The Roots Project as a whole, it's really to go back into how they became themselves, being able to take their life experiences and use those to quote unquote water who they are and who they're becoming, so that God can continue to give that increase and they can see it as it's happening. It's all about foundations, right? Setting a solid foundation in who they are right now, knowing that they'll continue to grow, continue to evolve. Then it gives you much more of a mark to aim for. I think about the passage in Psalms, your young folks are like arrows, and you shoot those arrows towards the target. I just feel like here at Rise, we're doing a lot of work to help shape that arrow and then make sure that it's going towards the target that's supposed to be going for.
The roots of the righteous will not be moved.
The image of the tree was pretty important to us. Ms. Chen has always had a vision of having a tree in the middle of our building because it is a symbol of rootedness and also bearing fruit. Now that we're in our 5th year, it is kind of a pivotal time in our school's history. We saw this particular season of our life that we're still growing. What does it really mean to really work on the root system and the support structures? We are choosing to invest in a rootedness that is grounded in the relationships that are present already between the students and the teachers, in the students and the supporters, their sponsors, their mentors, their tutors, and just the rootedness of the students with their families. My hope for Rise Prep is that our students would know how much they are loved and beloved by God, and that is the real root of their identity. And that's what's really gonna allow them to rise higher, is going deeper.
They tried to bury us, but they did not know we were seeds.
Yeah, the pandemic hit our school just like it hit every school. One of the things that has been a pivotal part of our education has been our relational aspect with our students. And it's not the same over Zoom. It's not the same when you're learning virtually, and our students felt it, our teachers felt it. So coming back in person, we realized initially a loss of learning. It took some adjustment for our students. It took some adjustments socially, took some adjustments energy-wise, not being able to just go to their refrigerator, get a little snack whenever they want. And so we've seen our model back at work again. And I think that that's the amazing thing that I'm really excited about starting off this school year, is that our model really emphasizes that relationship is a part of the education process, and our students need that. We need that as teachers. And so the start of this school year has been amazing. I see them really striving to improve themselves and to really achieve their goals and have a vision for their future. And so I love our students. It's a very unique, small community that we are all privileged to be a part of. I think students feel that way, families feel that way, and teachers and staff feel that way.
The deeper our roots, the higher we rise.
We have a ways to go. We hope to have a building that we can grow into as well. There's just a lot of obstacles that we have as a faculty and as admin that we continue to put one step in front of the other, and in faith, follow where God is leading. And so I hope we're modeling for our students just the steady faithfulness that we would want to see in them.
When you ask why Rise, I say it's just the perfect mix of bringing all those things together, bringing together the high expectations of we will go to college, we'll have college access, we will have spiritual formation, and we will make sure that first and foremost, your wellness is looked after before anything else. And also just giving students a space to be who they are and fully express their identities that are evolving into the people into the best versions of their self, I should say.
I hope that the story of Rise is not just about our kids, about our students, and about the staff, but it is about this community of supporters that are watching, that we all, in the midst of coming out of or being even in the midst of the pandemic, can see that God is still good all the time, and that we can be encouraging each other. And we hope that this Rise story is part of that encouragement to you.
Wow, phenomenal. Listen, The community's already asking questions. Community, y'all gotta wait till Thursday. Y'all trying to get them to spill all of the beans tonight. But I want to say, Bill, you look younger now than you did on that video. What's going on, Bill? Okay, I don't know.
Hey, for my folks celebrate Rosh Hashanah, happy Rosh Hashanah. I cut it off for a fresh look for Rosh Hashanah. So shout out to everybody out there.
So one of the community questions, I know y'all was going to answer this on Thursday. They just can't wait till Thursday. I told them y'all was coming back Thursday, but go ahead and answer that question, you all.
Do you have to live in SF? Yes. If you're thinking about, and I'll say this, yes and no is that real answer to this question. If you are thinking you have a student who wants to go here, the answer is yes. If you are feeling motivated and you're like, man, I really want to support, I want to know what's up with Rise, I want to just be involved, right? You don't have to be here. And in fact, that's great. We are happy to, I do a lot of our communication on behalf of Rise, so I'm happy to add you to newsletters and see where we can plug you in. And I guess there are some benefits that we learned, right, from the pandemic, that we know how to do this virtual stuff. So that means that we get to have community, even if it's not face to face. And so I encourage you to get plugged in. I encourage you to continue to learn more about what Rise is and who we are and our students. And so like I was telling you guys a little bit before, our families are not here in the Bay Area, but we are, and they are still supporters, even from a distance. So I encourage you to get plugged in, but I do want to be direct that it's because it's a school, students would have to be here in SF. And I just want to speak to our mission. And I think you guys heard it in the video, but 80% of our students, our deepest desire is that they are a combination of first generation college, or they qualify for free reduced lunch, or they're Bayview residents. And so we have a very intentional audience for the students that we want to reach, because we all know what happens, especially in the Black and Brown communities, especially in Bayview. A lot of students get bussed out to go to other schools in other places, and it's depleting of the beautiful wealth of knowledge and just the beauty that already exists here. We're taking it out. So I think that in a lot of ways, Rise exists to keep that beauty here.
And Bill, before you speak, go ahead, Mike. I just want to say this. Y'all know me, right? Y'all know I'm an assessor, right? So y'all don't even know. I talked to a number of y'all kids. I know a couple of community families who kids go there. And I like to listen. I love when y'all come here, right? And there's no disrespect. I always tell people, I go talk to the kids. And let me tell you, I talked to 4 of y'all students, and they talked highly about the education, the quality, the socialism. So that's just a testament to y'all. So I'm not going, I'm just letting y'all know community, because y'all know how I am. I always do my research. And again, I talk to the kids, and I always ask the kids, what is that experience like? When you go to school, do you feel safe? Do you feel you're supported? Do you feel you get the educational needs? And each one of them answered all those check marks, and they gave y'all high praise. So I just want to say, whatever you're doing, it's working. And I hope you guys continue to grow. Well, not even hope, because you're going to grow. But my thing is this, to these schools that's in San Francisco that's failing, why not close one of those schools and give it to a Rise so that they can have a full school? That would be dope, man. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
But go ahead. Go ahead, Bill. I don't want to cut you off.
So John, to what you just said, man, that's just so true. One of our biggest things, we have a 1-to-8 staff to student ratio. And so when you think about your student getting the attention they deserve, the attention that's been just overlooked in our communities for so long, when they come to Rise, they will get that attention. No one falls through the cracks there. And again, we have such high expectations academically. Now, that's not to say that if your student has been struggling in the past, that they won't be able to succeed at Rise because they have that one-on-one support. And so my wife already kind of mentioned it a little bit, but the reason that I wanted to come out here and teach at a school like this was because this is my 10th year in education. And, I've taught at a lot of high-performing schools, things like that, both charter and public. And the thing that was always missing, you can have these high expectations, you can send kids to college. The thing that was always missing was the spiritual formation. No school, no public school is going to be able to give your child that spiritual formation to complement the academic piece. Here at Rise, we're able to not only have those smaller class sizes, that 1-to-8 ratio, but we can also provide just that perspective of love and that perspective of care and that perspective of grace that we want to build into our students because we're not just sending them off to college to just be whatever they want to be. We want to form them into the people they want to be as well. And that's doing it through God's mission. And so that's the one reason why, I chose Rise, was because it was more than just a school. It is literally forming these kids into what I think Dr. Kevin just said it, right? He had that quote from Proverbs where I wrote it down because I was like, man, that's it right there. Raise a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I mean, there goes the school's mission right there, right? Raise these children in the way they should go. Set those seeds right now, because we don't want you to just go and be successful monetarily. We want you to go and be successful in every aspect of your life. We believe in educating the whole child, not just the brain, the heart, the gut, everything, the spirit. And so that's why, Rise, I think, stands out and above a lot of these public schools that are out here because of that reason. So as I said, it's my 10th year in education. Being here at Rise has allowed me to express my full self as an educator, allowed me to talk about Christ, allowed me to give them that peace that I believe is most important. And, all of our teachers are on the same wave. Now, that's not to say we're going to beat you over upside the head with the Bible, nothing like that. More than anything, is to say that as we go throughout our curriculum, as we go throughout our programming, it's always that love at the forefront. It's always that idea of we're coming from love first and foremost that we speak from. And so, that's just a little bit about, I know we got the longer Thursday, we'll get into more of the specific, but I just wanted to kind of come on to know why I personally chose Rise and what a parent can expect to get when they come to Rise and bring their child to Rise. And I would say to the parents out there, whether your child is in 8th grade, the 8th grade, awesome, contact us ASAP. Even if they're in 6th and 7th grade, we got a wait list coming up. And so don't be afraid to reach out and get that process started now, because it's never too early to start planning for your child's future. One of the other big benefits of Rise, we talk about UC requirements, the A through G requirements. A lot of families that I've talked to, it's like, we're not quite sure fully if our child's meeting that or not. They're trying to meet with counselors, all that kind of stuff. With the Rise curriculum, just by virtue of our curriculum, you can guarantee your child's going to meet every single requirement that they need to go to college. And I also want to say our mission is not to get students to college. I think a lot of these high-performing charter schools and public schools, they say, okay, our mission is to get 99% of our kids to college. That's not enough. We got to get them through college. I think Tony did. We got to get them through college, right? We got to get them all the way through, because if you get there, you drop out first semester, who cares? All you got is a bill and nothing to show for it. So our big thing is, first and foremost, let's get you to the door, open that door. If you choose, you want to go a different path, we will support you in that. My role here is college counselor, but it's college and career readiness. And so I'm always looking at, partnering with families and seeing what's best for your individual child. But just understanding that our main goal is to make sure that when you get to that point in 12th grade year, that everyone has access. You won't not go to college because you didn't have access. If you make a different choice, hey, that's the choice that you made, and I'll support you in that. We will support you in that, and we will go forward. But we want to make sure that everyone has access to college, and not only getting to it, but also getting through it. So those are just some of the main features of what I do here at Rise. I'm also the basketball coach. Shout out to my basketball team. Trials coming soon, fellas. I think anybody watching, hope you're ready for those tryouts. So, we got a lot of great sports, a lot of great programs. We got our school days, extended school days, so we go till 5. And what that enables us to do is to make sure that we have a tutoring session at the end of the day for all scholars, closing those gaps, right? We know a lot of our scholars are underserved traditionally. We see some students coming in on 4th, 5th grade levels. And so to make sure that we close those gaps for all of our students, we have that extra time as they go throughout the years. 9th grade, everyone's expected to be there. As we go throughout the years, we convert that into internships, into programs, things that they're going to need to not only look great on their college resume, but to make sure that they're just being educated in a holistic way, the whole child. And so we just make sure at every turn that we're not just giving that academic education, but we're giving that full education, because again, raise a child up in the way they should go, and they will not depart from it. And so I'll leave it right there for now for my piece. But I know we got some good questions coming in. We got some questions out there, so please ask away.
Are you looking to expand in Oakland? My kids are like 7 and 9, and I'm already like, hurry up so you can go to that school. That was beautiful. Like it brought tears to my eyes, just about like I had to turn my camera off because I'm like, this is unbelievable that there's a school like this. First of all, that you have God implemented in there. And my question is, was there like did you have to go through a process to get God into the school? Because they don't allow you to do those type of things anymore.
I'm so glad you asked this question, because I really, it's like you almost can't not talk about all of it when you ask some of these questions. So I'm going to be repetitive on Thursday. I think that's okay. We have a flipped model. So to your question, the way to do that is going the private school method or route. And I want to talk about that because sometimes people hear private school and they're like, hold up, wait a second. But you're in Bayview and you're serving these students, and how does that work? Right, the money, how does that work? We have a really beautiful funding model such that 90% of our funds are raised by donors. That leaves 10% up to 10% of tuition to the families. And I think that works in a lot of beautiful ways. Number one, some families will pay nothing, some will pay up to that 10%. I think it's a beautiful way when we talk about, and Nadia touched on it when she was talking about in her segment, the family is important. It is crucial. And so there is a level of support from families that I've never seen at any of the schools that I've ever worked at, because you've got something invested. I mean, you've got money invested, and we all know wherever your money is going, you're gonna be involved. And so it's beautiful to see how much family engagement there is. And that's another support system that helps to hold these kids accountable to who they are and what they're doing and how they're growing. And so there's that. I think it's such a beautiful thing that 90% of these funds are raised. And so when we think about our community and expanding our community, that's another need. We're fast tracking to growing out of our space. So we're going to need a building. There's things that are rolling. And while we're not probably going to expand to Oakland, something that, right now that is on the horizon is that our hope, we've been with our current 11th graders who are our oldest students. They've been with us since they were 6th graders. So we started them in 6th grade and now they're in 11th grade. And our hope is we'll build out and have our first graduating class next year, build back our middle school in the years to come. And that to us is those middle school years are so important. It's this, like, I see it as a crossroads. It's getting younger and younger. It seems like that you really have to intervene younger and younger and younger. And so that's our plan. And to your point, Tony, about your kids being in Oakland, something that I think is really special, and it really speaks to what Rise is doing. We've got students all the way out from Fairfield coming over the bridge every single morning, waking up at 4 a.m. to get over to Rise. And it's,
let me tell you, I was visualizing, like, I'm getting in the car, I'm going across the bridge, I'm coming back to Oakland, and I'm going back to San Francisco. I visualized it already. Okay. Yep. And you said something, Bill, earlier. You said that the kids that come in there, because in Oakland, I'm speaking for Oakland because I'm in Oakland, I'm speaking that there's tons of schools that we have. We have too many schools in Oakland. Okay. And there's so many schools and the reading levels are so low. We have so many children that are passing through, and they're even passing through high school and then going to Laney the first semester and dropping out because they can't even pass these remedial classes. And I don't understand how that's possible. So when you said earlier that you have these children that's at a lower reading level, what is specifically, and I know you can't give it all out, but give me something. What exactly do you do to get them on that level? First of all, I do love that you said till 5 o'clock, because I think that kids need to be going to school till 5 o'clock. So what is the magic? What do you got for them?
Intervention. I'll keep saying that word because it's so incredibly important. Part of our extended school day model is that we leave time for intervention. During that 3:45 to 5 o'clock hour, we have our teachers in there checking in with students, doing small group sessions with students, doing everything we can to close those gaps. Because like you said, and what's crazy about that is I'm sure y'all know about the prison industrial complex and how they create beds for our community based off their reading scores in their 6th and 7th and 8th grade year. So it's just wild how many facets of society are banking on our kids to lose and profiting off of that. And so, with our model, it is flipping that on its head and saying that, no, we're going to invest what's needed into these students to make sure, our goal for all of our students is that you get accepted into a UC or a CSU. That's the bar that we set. And then again, if students want to veer this way or veer that way, as long as we have a plan, we'll build a plan with parents, etc. We can do that. But that is our goal, is to make sure that your reading levels, your math levels, your PSAT scores, all that stuff is at the level to get you to that extra piece. We have tutors, and this is back to Kristen's piece here. We have tutors that come in from the community, from different businesses in the community. They come in and they do one-on-one tutoring with our scholars. And so not only do you have your teachers there for support, but you also have those tutors that are coming in and giving you that one-on-one support. Outside of that, we also partner with many organizations in the community, such as Shout Out Village Life, to give our young men, especially our young men, just an even added layer of structure and support that goes beyond the four walls of the school. And so, first and foremost is intervention, but it's also those partnerships that we've been able to forge. But as Dr. Kevin said, as we've heard many times on the show, it's all about having God first. It's all through the power of God and His glory that allows us all to do these things. And so, we just keep God at the forefront. But specifically to your question, Tony, it's all about the intervention and making sure that we're meeting them where they are. Everyone's not going to come in at the same level. Everyone, we believe in equity, not equality, if that makes sense, right? Like, you can't treat every student equally. You can't treat them all equally and think they get to the same place. You got to have different ways of approaching students. They have different styles of learning. They have different levels they come in on. And so we're going to meet them on that level and make sure that we're getting them to where they need to be by the time they get to that 12th grade level. And so 9th grade, you might come in, you may not be quite there. You may not be quite there by 10th grade, but by the time you get to 12th grade, we will have you on that level to where you can succeed in your first year at a UC or a CSU at minimum.
I appreciate the partnership. You said all the words that I needed to hear as a parent. One of the things that I learned during the pandemic is that all those children that was thriving in school, they were not thriving virtual. And then those kids that were vice versa, they switched places. Now, the other question I have for you is they put this stigma on Black boys being in school. Oh, they have behavior issues, they're aggressive. And those are the same kids that's at the back of the classroom eating snacks and stuff because they don't know how to deal with their aggressiveness. And it may be that they're dyslexic and they may be the smartest kid in the room, but they're not getting the access that they deserve. So when you get a kid like that, or have you gotten a kid like that where this kid came from this other school and they were, stereotype as like just always getting into, I'm bringing my kid here and see what y'all can do with him, and we all know that the first teacher is the parent, or should be the parent. That's what I believe in. But you also got to look at the communities that we live in, the single mothers, what I mean? Like, we're not being able to pay close attention. And then not only that, the parents not knowing how to help the child with the homework, or even how to deal with dyslexia, or even know what dyslexia mean, or a student with an IEP, or those type of terms. Like, how do you deal with those type of children, or do you even have those type of children that come to your school?
So Tony, let me start here. My passion for this work, I am from a single parent household. Never met my father a day in my life. From a single parent household, first generation college student myself. And so my passion for this work comes from my own journey. And so, I've not only have I been that kind of student, but I've also, my cousins, my friends, I've come from that environment. And so first and foremost, there's an empathy that I have, and a lot of our staff have for students in that situation, understanding that a lot of times these kids are just misunderstood. And so, what we at Rise try to do is come with that trauma-informed mindset, understanding that coming from a community like ours, even if you got both parents in the household, even if, you may be more fortunate, I'll say, to have some of those demons not on your back, you still have trauma. Hearing shots go off, seeing Black folks get murdered in the streets on CNN, it's all traumatic. And so understanding that there's so much trauma, and John, you were just talking about it, asking Dr. Kevin, what'd you do to get over this stuff? What do you do to put the, you know, because there's so much trauma that we understand that. And so we try to come from that trauma-informed viewpoint and understand first and foremost, it's not about over policing these kids. It's not about over disciplining these kids. It's not about, that's not the approach. You have to come from empathy first and foremost, and understand that they come from an environment that is a tough environment. And a lot of times what I've learned about students is that they don't want to be defiant. They don't want to do the wrong thing. They don't want to do that. That's just might be all they know. From where they're coming from, that's just what they know. And so understanding that if we can break that barrier down and break that wall down, which you saw in the video with like the projects that I try to do with the Roots projects, and a lot of the, you know, setting a dream for yourself, and, you know, writing letters to yourself 10 years from now, just putting you in a positive mind frame, breaking you from that stagnant mind frame to that growth mindset. And how can you see life in a different view? I understand you may go home to this. I understand that you may have aunts and uncles or whoever that are doing these things, and you have that as an option, but there's better options out there as well. My thing is all about exposure. We got to expose you to these different things. That's why we take them on, you know, in a week here. We're going on a college trip. All of our 9th and 11th graders are going down for a camping trip to just spend time in nature and learn different skills, animal husbandry type of skills. 10th graders are going down to University of Santa Cruz. We're going to San Jose State, you know, getting them out there to see kind of this stuff, going to the Apple campus so they can see what it's like to work in tech. 11th graders are going down to LA, UCLA, doing all that kind of stuff. We have college and career panels we bring in with folks that look like us, that are saying, you know, look, I was like you. I wasn't doing great in school. But I got it together because somebody intervened. Somebody stepped in and said, you know, you are a gift, that you are special. You got this inside of you. And that's what it takes. And that's what we try to do on a daily basis, is make sure we're exposing them to different opportunities and to different ways of living. And then also following through, as Kristen said, you know, and as you said as well, Tony, the parent is the first teacher. And so we want to make sure that our parents are invested. And I've never been at a school where we've had 100% participation on parent-teacher conferences, but here we do. I've never been at a school where when it comes down to events, the parents are the first one to say, hey, I'll cook this, I'll show up here, I'll do this. But at this school, we do. It's that investment piece and making sure that our parents have that we're communicating with them at a high level, and that we're making sure that they are just as involved as the student, because we want to make sure that it's not just the student that's getting education, but the parents also benefiting from our school as well. We want to be a community school that's looking beyond just the student and looking towards the family unit as well, because we understand that family unit, that is the first line of defense. And so those are some of the different ways that we try to attack it. And that when we get students that are quote unquote, you know, have a BIP or an IEP or whatever it is, we look beyond that label. And it's like, okay, well, what's the root cause of this? You know, okay, you're a little defiant. I'm not going to take offense to that. First of all, I'm not scared of you. So, you know, a lot of these school teachers be scared of the kids. Just to be honest, I've been in a lot of places where the teachers are just by virtue of being a young Black male, they just scared of them. That's not how it is here. So coming from that empathy mindset, from that trauma-informed mindset, and understand that they're not doing it to be personal, that this is just a reaction that they've learned. This is just something that they have done to survive. How can we get them out of survival mode and get them into a mode of thriving? And I think that's one of our main principles at Rise Prep, is how can we go from surviving to thriving and living a purpose-driven life?
Wow. You know, in the church, you know, the elders, when the pastor is going on the good benediction, you hear the elders say, my. All I can say, Rise. This is what it's all about. Community that's watching. I see y'all still trying to ask these questions. Listen, tune in this Thursday. They're going to come back and break down a great presentation of their school, how to get in, all of those questions asked. This is why I'm excited that they came back, because not only to talk about their organization, but they are hidden gems in our community. You know, you and your wife are doing some phenomenal things. I see you at the events. I see you engage with the community. And that's very important. You know, part of our schools is to be a part of the community. And I know that I've seen you guys at a number of events, making sure that community know about it. I've seen you reach out and tell parents, hey, check us out, come in. I mean, this is what we need. And you all give that real life relatability to these young folks. And again, I'm impressed. And again, I gotta sign my waivers and come in, Bill, and check out the school and walk around and bring my video photographer, and because you guys are doing some great work. And like I said, I base things off what my young people say. I'm about the young people. I love my adults. But I always try to catch, when I'm doing this work, Bill, a lot of times, and there's some amazing folks, but I like to talk to the people, the participants, the students. Sometimes I go to other community organizations. I want to talk to these people when they mind ain't on it, when they ain't away, when nobody looking, and I ask them and catch them off guard and see where they really at. And I am impressed with the type of response that I got from the young people that's in your program about how satisfied they are with their educational goals, and they are well-mannered. So whatever you all are doing, don't stop, okay? And I think God be in the forefront, family seeing you all loving, engaging. See, when you bring, I keep telling people, when we bring love, and like you said, Bill, compassion and humility around our young people, it's like a magnet that they just love, right? It's just, they feel safe. And these are the type of models that we have to present in our schools because our kids are disconnected. And to Tony's point, I heard you say it, meeting people where they at. And I know the work that you do dealing with the kids in that community, going to their doorsteps, working with the families. That's the biggest part. Because I tell people, I'm tired of going to these meetings. All of these folks come to these meetings talking about how we going to meet people where they at. And then when you start talking to people, they tell people, oh, you got to come down to my office, or you got to come over here to this location. That's not meeting people where they at, And I always have to question people, and I ask that when I meet people, because I'm in meetings with elected officials, different people, and I'm saying, what are you talking about? You meeting people where you at? I never see you in the community. I see y'all in the community. I mean, these people can't say meeting people where they at means come to my office. And I'm like, I get so frustrated because that is not community engagement. That's not engaging with our community. You all understand the dynamics of D10, then that 94124 zip code. You have to go door to door. You have to meet those families sometimes to bring them to that. And that reaction that you all are getting from the mothers and the fathers stepping up, doing their part, is because they see the invested interest that you have towards their children and in them. And I think that's where a lot of our schools, they miss that. That level of community engagement doesn't work. And I tell people, for a lot of these folks, it's 9 to 5. The community works happen after 5 o'clock. How do you engage with our parents? Most of them that do work, they working. They don't get off to 5 o'clock. Where are you doing outreach after hours? Time's going back an hour here soon. It's getting dark early. Some of those folks don't want to go up there and knock on folks' doors and talk to them. You have to have that level of commitment. When the parents see that, they're going to go to bat for you, and building those relationships are very important. So I'm excited. And Kristen, thank you, and Bill, for what y'all doing, are building up some amazing young people. And that's why we want to highlight you all and give you your flowers as well, because it takes a team of folks, And when we talk about different backgrounds, we bring in different things to our young folks that is needed. And Bill, your story is powerful. I didn't even know that. But again, that resonates to your passion and your commitment to these young folks. And I always tell people, these educators, some of them, they don't know. You bring these kids from Ivy League schools, they always be middle class. You bring them to our community, they don't know how to adjust because they're not used to it. So you have that live experience, Bill, that's going to be that connection with that young man that maybe another teacher's not going to get, right? And your program is working. So again, community, how do we advocate for a rise to come into a school near you in our community? These schools that are failing, how do we advocate to get a rise, get behind them to help uplift our community? Those dynamics are the dynamics that we need to move equity and education forward in our community. So again, tune in this Thursday. Come check out more in depth of what they're doing. Tonight was supposed to just be the highlight of them, to give them their flowers, their roses, for all the amazing work that they're doing to impact the 94124, to impact our families. We have to start showing love to these educators. That's the thing. They already overworked and underpaid. So we wanted to make sure we did our part to highlight them, let you know they are no longer hidden gems. These are the people. These are the families that are working with our young people, advancing them in education, making sure that they feel loved and supported, going above and beyond. You heard them multiple times talk about the things that they do to go above and beyond, and that's the leadership, the model that we need to have. So Bill, Kristen, thank you for being the leaders, demonstrating what's possible. Because again, if you can demonstrate what's possible, That's leadership in our community that we need. And thank you both for continuing your mission, continuing your vision, and pushing equity in our community and moving our young folks forward. This has been great for me tonight because three different educators, three different styles, all about love, all about humility, all about bringing community together. We started with Nadia, we went to Dr. Kevin, and now these two phenomenal folks here impacting our community. What a great show tonight. Bill, Kristen, if there's anything that you want to say, any shout outs to your staff, your funders, your sponsors, do it now because you all are the examples that we need to follow in community, but let them know that you appreciate them before we close out tonight's segment.
Yeah, I don't know how many of them are watching tonight, but I really just want to shout out our students. They make the work that we do possible because they show up every day and we get to love them and they show up for us. And man, it's so good. It's so good to do the work because we get to serve them, and it's so good.
Yeah, and if I can step in real quick, shout out to Village Life. I know I already said that. Shout out to College Track, all the work got going on. Shout out to 100% College Prep. Shout out to Tino and the rest of the folks down at the Bayview Y. There's all these great partnerships that make it possible for us to do what we do. We just don't take that lightly. We just thank all of y'all and anybody, any potential partnerships or any potential sponsors. I shout out to you, even before you did it, because we just appreciate you giving us the time of day to even. And shout out to both sides of the conversation for having us on. We appreciate y'all. I learned a lot today. Shout out to both Dr. Kevin and Nadia. Both of those programs. Wow. Hearing Dr. Kevin's story was so powerful. I would need to find a way. I'm actually from Pennsylvania. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. So I know Tony was, I know black folks there. That's what everybody said to me when I moved to Texas as well. They was like, "There's black folks up. You from Philly?" Nah, not Philly, Erie. So I already know that piece. But everything was just thank y'all so much for this platform to get a chance to talk about our school. We just so appreciate it and really looking forward to Thursday having a chance to do a deeper dive. Just thank y'all again.
Oh, no, definitely. That's what it's all about. Here at both sides of the conversation, we are trying to change the narrative. We are trying to let community know there are organizations who work together, uplift our community, that are doing the work. We have to change that narrative. It starts with us. We don't need CNN. We don't need Fox News to come tell our community the great work. This Hidden Gem segment community, this is what this is about. Now you've got it in depth. Now you've heard from the great minds of Bill and Kristen and Nadia and Kevin. There's work happening in our community. There are some amazing folks. And these are the folks you want to align your grandchildren, your cousins, your nieces, your children with. These are the programs. We're trying to bring those base principles back to our community. Some of our young folks are losing that. They're not getting that. You go to Rise, this is what you get. Foundation, morals, principles, and all you get love and support. That's what it's all about. Community-driven folks. That's all about uplifting our community. This is what it's about. Tony, you want to say anything before I give the benediction for tonight?
Yes, Bishop. What I want to say is just thank you to all the guests that came on the platform tonight. Each and every day, I wake up to serve. And when I hear stories like this, I know this is why I'm doing this work. And I appreciate you guys for doing the work that you're doing, because it shows that you don't just care about yourself, but you care about community. And community, you always trying to figure out time and where you can start and how you can help. There's so many examples that we try to give you on a weekly basis. Tap in, because Brother Bill said it earlier. It takes a partnership. We got to bring it back to the old school. John hates when I say this, but we got to take it back to the old school of it takes a village to raise children. It takes a village to raise leaders. It takes a village for us to all stand together. And so it's so much work to do. And we got so many things that we need to take care of. Tap in. And Bill and Kristen, thank you. Oh my God. Like these conversations, when I get off this line, I always so emotional. I'm always amped up. I can't turn it down because I'm ready to do something about it. I'm ready. But y'all need to bring that to Oakland. That's all I'm going to say. I look forward to the show on Thursday. And you know what, community? So many people told us where they came from and where they are now. So that tells me that we all can ascend through anything, no matter where we come from, including Pennsylvania, where there's Black people at. Okay.
And I rise, and I rise, and I rise. Thank you, community, for watching tonight. These are one of those segments that bring nothing but hope. Humility just brings energy. Again, y'all wonder why I only get 2 hours of sleep, because it is powerful folks like Rise, like the Breaking the Chain, like Nadia, that are doing some phenomenal things to impact our community. It just keeps me going. It makes me want to continue to do this work, even when I'm tired, far away from the Bay Area in a haunted house. I still want to make sure that I'm impacting my community. This is great stuff. When we talk about education, being intentional, bringing information and awareness to our community, this is what we're doing. This is impact. I see the comments. I see the community. They're paying attention. They're getting geared up. They're getting ready. Rise is coming. The community is rising. They're trying to get their young folks to do everything they can as scholars. This is the organization you go to. Phenomenal, phenomenal show tonight. Thank you all for being patient. I know it takes a long time to get through these hidden gems, but this is why we bring them. You should feel blessed to get to know these people. And this is why I tell the guests, it is important for you to come speak about your organization. Let the community know who you are, get to know your face. Because too many times our community said, John, I don't know who they are, where they at. We don't see them. This gives you an opportunity to break into the community, meet them at those intersections, and put a face and a name to what's going on. So you can say, hey, I remember you. The next community event, you can walk up to Bill and say, I remember you from Hidden Gems. Thank you for your service, because that's what we have to do. We have folks who are serving our community. We have to give them their flowers. We have to give them their respect. And most importantly, give them our love. And that's why this segment is so powerful, because we let our hidden gems know you are important. We want to give you your roses, because you should. Too many times we wait till we at the funeral services to talk about the amazing work that folks do. We want to give it to them while they're living. Thank you all again for watching. Education is important. That is the key to our freedom, to our financial freedom, to our greatness that we're going to do. We're going to have to learn. We're going to have to empower our young people, invest heavy. Community, let's talk about it. Let's help rise to the top. They have a model that's working. That's what we have to do in our community. When there's a model that is working, how do we as community push our elected officials, push the folks in our school district and say, hey, y'all have a school over here with all this square footage. Our kids are not succeeding. Let's move these kids out. Let's put Rise in here and see if the spirit of the Lord and the greatness that they are can touch our community in a way that we can lift those numbers up and be impactful in our community. It's all about being intentional. If we think about it and we walk together in solidarity and we say, hey, Rise is the model that we want for our community moving forward, I think we can make the change. It just takes all of us working together and understanding. And that's why it's so important for them to come back Thursday on our Educational Thursday to bring you all the education, the insight, the things that you are thinking about. So when we do have these community conversations, we can say, hey, I like what they're doing. This is something we should try. Don't be afraid of change. Innovation is what we want to bring to our community, because we know some of these models that are in place are not working for our community. So why not be afraid to just go ahead and say, let's try a Rise. Let's give them an opportunity. Let's see if we could get more young folks impacted in our community. We need the spirituality. We need the education. We need the love. Our young folks need us. Our community is hurting. It's a lot of heartbreak, a lot of things going on. Again, let's get them around folks who are going to show them love, compassion, and humility. With that being said, good evening, everyone. Have a blessed time. They'll be back Thursday to educate you all. Continue to do your part. Stay connected. Keep on ascending, as Tony would say. But I'm going to say keep rising like Rise to the top. And y'all pray for me, because I'm in a haunted house. I don't know what's going on, but I'm in a haunted house. So I'll see y'all this Thursday. Thank you again, Bill and Kristen, and to Dr. K. And to Nadia for coming on. This was a great segment, but we'll see you all on Thursday. Have a blessed evening. Continue to impact. Continue to do the work that you all are doing. See you soon.